The path of least resistance makes all rivers and some men crooked. Napoleon Hill said that a long time ago, and that is absolutely true. I say it a lot, but QLA methodology that Dan created more than 25 years ago is simple. But simple isn't the same thing as easy. Running a 4-minute mile is simple. You just need to put one foot in front of the other fast enough. But is that easy? Not hardly. I'm often asked what separates those who succeed from those that quit. And when you begin your QLA journey, it's important to figure out your why, or as Napoleon Hill said, what your burning desire is. Why? Because it will carry you through the adversities you feel. There'll be times when you're absolutely tempted to quit. But if you have a burning desire to succeed, and that's important enough to you, you'll look at the adversity as a speed bump rather than throwing in the towel. And when people quit, they usually give a financial reason. I ran out of money. Now, we've talked about this before, but we have two bank accounts. We've got a financial bank account and an emotional bank account. And in reality, there's almost always a way to fix the financial hardship if your why or burning desire is strong enough. But the path of least resistance is usually, I just don't have the money anymore, or this is taking too much of a financial cost. So I would, during those times, go back and look at what your why is or your burning desire. And as I just said, there is usually a way to find the money if it's important enough for you. Okay. And during those times when you're tempted to take the path of least resistance and figure that, well, maybe there's a shortcut, remember, I think, one of the most important things, and that is that shortcuts usually have a cost, almost always have a cost, and they usually lead you down a bad path. And one of the bad paths that they lead you down is the temptation to compromise your integrity. I really believe that integrity is one of the few things worth dying for. And so at what cost will you sell your integrity? Hopefully, if you're going to sell your integrity, it's an incredibly high price. And hopefully, even more so, you don't sell your integrity. That is a core belief and a core trait of yours that you won't compromise. And there's a couple examples that I wanted to give you. One was during the days of the property tax consultants growth that was quite a while ago. I totally ran out of money. The company ran out of money. And we were filing grievances on property taxes, and IBM was a large client. During the first step of usually filing a grievance or challenging your taxes, you get denied. And then you have to file what's called a certiorari or Article 7 in New York State proceeding, which is basically a lawsuit which continues it. And most of the time you win those, actually. But we went to IBM. We could not afford not to have them continue with us, but we said it's normal to get knocked down at this stage. And what we would like to do is, whether you use us or not, because we could hire an attorney, make sure that you proceed with this. It's just the right thing to do. We think you're going to win. Well, some would say we couldn't afford to have them not continue with us, but the integrity side of that equation was we were looking out for our client's best interest. And so IBM said, you guys carried us this far, we're going to go with you. Rest is history. We won that case. We ended up earning millions of dollars in fees with IBM. But it was because we would not compromise our integrity that success happened. It wasn't that we would said, well, let's throw in the towel and tell IBM that it didn't work. We didn't do that. The second one is more recreational. I'm a big fan of my son, Brian Whipple. And Brian, a good friend of mine, Paul, and I ran the Nashville half marathon a bunch of years ago. My son, a little ways into the race, went into the porta potty. He came out, he made the wrong turn, and by doing so, I can't remember the exact amount, but he cut 5 or 8 miles off the half marathon. So as he ran, he noticed that the field was running much more quickly, and he crossed the line with the Ethiopians and the Kenyans, and his time was like a record time. Incredible. So he said something's wrong here. And they posted his name. It was high up in the rankings. And he ended up writing to the race director, and he said, I didn't run that complete course. I made a mistake. I turned the wrong way. And please remove my name from the records. And I was proud of that. That showed integrity. One other instance with my son was he was young, but we were at a convenience store, 7-Eleven or something like that. We walked out. There was a large bill, $20 bill or $100 bill maybe on the ground. And he picked it up, and then he walked back in and he gave it to the clerk. And the clerk said, this isn't mine. And my son says, not mine either. If I found a hat, I would return it, and then this $20 isn't mine. So, remember at the times you're tested and at the times you have a temptation to follow the path of least resistance, remember that your integrity is not for sale. And also remember that not everyone is willing to pay the price to have success in QLA. If they were, it would be much, much harder. But fortunately, that's not the case. And many of the people end up throwing in the towel. So here's to you having a strong enough why or burning desire to stay the course and the success that QLA can bring. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments or ideas for future episodes, please email bruce@brucewhipple.com. And if you're not already on our mailing list, head over to brucewhipple.com and sign up and grab any of the free reports. That'll put you on the mailing list. There is a lot of free information you can use to acquire already profitable businesses. This is Bruce Whipple. Thanks for listening to the Business Acquisition Podcast. And remember, you miss 100% of the opportunities you fail to take. And procrastination truly is the thief of time. So do something today, please. Your future self will be proud of you.